Being called a snitch came from Suge. Suge told Tupac to say that shit about him. But Suge was a capitalist. He used Pac.
We're looking at Jacques Anon, the man the streets baptized as Haitian Jack, once the king of Brooklyn nights. He's now stretched out under Dominican sun, miles in the chaos of East Flatbush and the paranoia-soaked corners of 90s Manhattan. Palm trees sway behind him while he talks slick on Gully TV. Calm as ever.
Had a big mouth, too. He was talking a lot of shit, too. He was talking a whole lot of shit, and sometimes niggas is like they gonna get at you when you talking shit. They gonna get at you, bro. You feel me? And as far as the situation, I know, you know, it's supposed to be some shit between him and Haitian Jack and some jury or some shit like that or whatever it was, you know. And Biggie was telling, bro, you don't even fuck with that nigga, you know what I mean?
Unfazed by the legends built around his name, he flashes that same smooth grin, still dressed razor sharp, still insisting, I don't rob my friends. If we got a problem, we just go our separate ways. Sounds peaceful, right? But the hip-hop world isn't buying the act. To fans, rappers, and the culture.
You know, and I had known Jack through school there. And I used to say, you out of your league.
You hang with the big boys now.
Yeah.
Himself. Jack's already been tried and convicted in the courts of the streets. Because everyone's heard the story, or at least a version that's been whispered through blocks, barbershops, and 1,000 gritty documentaries. Haitian Jack, the man who once made fear his calling card, was rumored to stroll through the night wearing Tupac's stolen chains, jewels.
He was not just good and bad, black and white. They're compassionate at times. They're selfish at times. A man can be selfish and compassionate to women at the same time. I was. Look at the lunatic and look at brothers got better.
Still glistening, still bloodstained, still heavy with meaning. Just hours after Quad Studios' ambush. That image never faded from hip-hop's collective imagination. The legend insists Jack didn't just rob Pac. He orchestrated the whole setup. While Pac was fighting for his life in a New York hospital.
The records that I heard were like all one-sided. But I can ask this, and I was opposed. So I felt like if my story is to be believable, I have to tell the multifaceted nature of a human being.
Bed. Jack was allegedly in a nightclub laughing, flashing chains that spoke louder than any diss track ever could. People who knew him back then tell the same story. You're out of your league now. You're rolling with giants. Every time Haitian Jack opens his mouth, it feels like he's giving testimony in a trial that should have ended decades ago. Yet he refuses to stop talking. Every line, every boast about being raised among wolves, only deepens his myth. Because this is the same wolf who once taught Tupac how to move, how to dress, how to survive in Brooklyn's wild terrain. Jack loves to preach the complexity of men. Humans aren't simply good or evil. You can be compassionate and still be flawed, sexist, selfish, whatever. But no matter how confident he sounds, the memory of those blood-soaked jewels still haunts the culture. The rumor that Pac's mentor was also his Judas hits harder with every retelling. So let's rewind way back, before the fame and the fear, to when Jacques Anon was just a Haitian kid escaping poverty and landing in Brooklyn, a place where the rules were carved in blood, not ink. From day one, Jack knew exactly what he wanted. Respect built through intimidation. The respect Jamaican crews got. That's what I wanted, he once said. That hunger drove him headfirst into the streets, turning menace into a profession. By the late 80s, he was making more money extorting dealers than most rappers would ever touch with platinum plaques. Even his own father, in one twisted family legend, crowned him king of thieves after Jack hunted down stolen goods with military precision. But the streets weren't only bullets and beatdowns. They were politics, alliances, power plays. That's how Haitian Jack built his empire, becoming the man everyone wanted in their corner. Promoters begged him to show up at parties. DJs shouted his name. Even Madonna was calling when she wanted a taste of danger. No exaggeration. She really ate jerk chicken in Brooklyn with him. At his peak, he was everywhere, surrounded by future giants like Jimmy Henchman and Trick Trick, men who understood Jack's authority without a single word. Then 1993 arrived, smoke rising over the above the rim set in Atlanta, and that's when Jack crossed paths with a rising flame named Tupac Shakur. One handshake, and everything shifted. Jack didn't just befriend Pac, he rebuilt him. Suddenly Pac was dripping in Versace, wearing a Rolex, moving with a new, sharpened swagger. This wasn't just fashion, it was initiation. Jack opened the doors of Brooklyn's underworld, giving Pac the street credibility he had only brushed against before. As Pac later told Vibe from his Rikers cell, "I used to rock baggy pants and sneakers. They took me shopping." That's when for his chains. When Pac refused to hand them over, bullets filled the air. 5 shots total. 2 in his head, 2 tearing into his groin, 1 ripping through his thigh. Upstairs, Puff, Biggie, and Andre Harrell were waiting. Some say clueless, others say suspiciously calm. Downstairs, Pac was bleeding everywhere, crawling toward the elevator, half dead but still fighting. Then came the image that rewrote hip-hop history. Hours later, Haitian Jack allegedly showed up in a club, flashing those exact same chains pulled from Pac's body. They weren't just jewelry. They were trophies soaked in betrayal. To the streets, the message was clear as sirens. Jack wasn't innocent. He greenlit the ambush. Overnight, rumors turned into gospel. Jack could deny it all he wanted, but no one listened. The chains told their own story. Pac lay in a hospital bed, stitched together and seething, while Jack smiled under neon lights like nothing happened. That night didn't just ignite a feud. It buried one of hip-hop's last real friendships. By 1995, Pac was locked inside Rikers, trading Versace for state-issued grays, writing letters dripping with rage and rot. "I believed him," one friend said. He wasn't talking just to talk. There was a war behind all this, a war that destroyed their neighborhood. Rikers was hell, rats, filth, hopelessness, and Pac's mind unraveled alongside it. From that cell, he began speaking his truth through Vibe interviews that shook the culture. No metaphors, no filters, no subliminals. He called out Nigel, his code name for Haitian Jack, saying, "He introduced me to all these gangsters." But that wasn't nostalgia. It was a loaded shot. "Nigel took me to Nell's," Pac said, and then the setup came. That quote flipped the streets upside down. The timing couldn't have been wilder. Pac's confessions hit the press the same week Me Against the World dropped, turning his pain into prophecy. Overnight, Haitian Jack became hip-hop's ultimate villain. Pac's warnings became scripture. Meanwhile, Jack was overseas trying to rewrite the story in Hip-Hop Uncovered, insisting Pac let lawyers twist their bond. He painted himself as a loyal one, the victim of fame and chaos, but nobody believed it anymore. Retired LAPD Detective Greg Kading, who chased a Vegas drive-by for years, still places Jack deep inside that East Coast web with connections more tangled than any lyric ever hinted. Jack keeps spinning explanations, excuses, new angles on why he couldn't have done what the streets think he did. But somehow, each word only sharpens the suspicion. And to understand his game, you gotta talk about that wild mid-90s fling with Madonna. Yes, that Madonna. A romance that blurred fame with street danger until headlines became folklore. She was the untouchable queen of pop, chasing danger like it was designer wear. Jack was the thrill Hollywood couldn't provide. He took her on late-night rides to Brooklyn jerk chicken joints, block parties filled with real street figures, the kind of men most celebrities only glimpse in tabloids. For a blazing moment, it was the perfect exchange. She gave him legitimacy. He gave her the forbidden edge she craved. Even rapper BL Star couldn't believe his eyes seeing Madonna in Flatbush, walking among wolves like she had no idea she'd stepped into a real-life crime saga. Jack didn't create legends. He attached himself to them, feeding off their aura until the spotlight drifted onto him too. In Madonna's universe, he became the ultimate dangerous puzzle piece. The man who had the queen of pop eating jerk chicken off a paper plate in Brooklyn. His power came not from music but reflection, turning proximity into prestige. Every brush with fame gave him a new mask, a fresh story ready for the next documentary or interview. Madonna may have been the only one who ever poured real emotion into it, but even she eventually outgrew the chaos. And once that thrill faded, Jack was left chasing his own outline, trapped in an endless loop of myth, interviews, and reinvention. He was always near the action, close enough to smell the gun smoke, but never the one writing the script. That cycle became his curse and his crown. While Madonna soared and turned those danger-fueled days into trivia, Jack stayed stuck in rewind, repeating the same lines. I was misunderstood. While still living the villain role hip-hop had already assigned him, he once said, I just want to be alive. That's raw and real, and reflective of a man who admits he didn't care whether he lived back then. His relationship with Madonna was never about love. It was a trade, danger swapped for validation, street-edge exchange for legitimacy, a deal written in whispers and broken in silence. And when the mirrors cracked, all that remained was myth and memory. Pac never got to rewrite his ending, gunned down in '96 at just 25, becoming the tragedy he feared. But Jack, he's still here, still breathing, still shaping his truth for anyone with a camera, still claiming he was a loyal friend caught in someone else's war. But history doesn't hand out sympathy. It delivers verdicts. Pac became immortal, a symbol bigger than music. Haitian Jack became a warning label, a name spoken like a curse. And that missing chain from Quad Studios became the most poisonous piece of jewelry in hip-hop's history, worth more in rumor than any diamond could ever be. Decades later, the question still burns through podcasts, barbershops, late-night debates, and anniversary playlists. Did Haitian Jack betray Tupac once? Or was a real betrayal the fact that he never stopped talking, that he defended himself so loudly he turned into the villain the culture needed? Pac became a legend because he stopped speaking and started living forever in our imagination. Jack became a headline that refuses to fade, a man outrunning an echo that will never disappear. So what do you think? Was Haitian Jack the architect of Tupac's downfall, or just a scapegoat for hip-hop's darkest myth? Drop your wildest theories in the comments. I read them all. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Every single subscription fuels the channel and keeps these stories alive.